The mayor says she does not regret or didn't respond to a question about whether she regretted taking a trip overseas when the wildfires erupted, number 14.
Looking back, would you have taken that trip overseas?
You know, I am going to focus today
But please,
on what we know.
You would.
Can I ask you one question about Brown County?
And let's revisit the questioning she received when she came back from the trip when she was at LAX, number 15.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today?
Can you back up? Appreciate it.
Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
We're talking about the president of the United Firefighters of LA County in an article in Breitbart. Quote, firefighters have privately been scathing in their condemnation of city leadership, with one telling Breitbart News that firefighters were not pre-deployed to handle the Palisades fire before last Tuesday's extreme winds because of a lack of personnel resources. The union president agreed, saying that LA Fire Chief Christian Crowley had made, quote, an operating funds decision, close quote, not to pre-deploy. He continued, quote, you have to pay overtime, noting that the department was reluctant to do so. Bass's much criticized budget cut spending on the fire department by as much as $17.5 million and slashed the overtime budget by over $19 million. Breitbart writes, quote, the decision was made on January 6th, the day before the fire, quote, not to staff every single resource, which would give you additional manpower with the field on red flag or high wind days, Escobar said. He noted that in contrast, tomorrow, we've staffed 42 additional engines and all of our pumps, close quote, in anticipation of the return of the Santa Ana winds. Escobar also faulted the Department of Water and Power for failing to maintain enough water to fight the fires. He read from messages he had received from firefighters on the line, quote, we had water issues the entire time, even on the second day, dry hydrants, or hydrants with little or no pressure, close quote. The fact that the Santa Ynez Reservoir atop Pacific Palisades was nearly empty and had been so since 2022 through 2 wet winters was a factor, Escobar said. He acknowledged that the system of fire hydrants was not meant for a wildfire on the scale of the Palisades fire, noting that the sudden demand for water caused pressure to drop at each available hydrant. Still, he said, there had to be alternative sources made available for emergencies. He noted that the burden of LA firefighters includes tens of thousands of calls every year to deal with homeless people, which he estimated at about 100 per day. Quote, we cannot sustain what is going on with the calls on the homeless with the staffing we have today. Close quote. He also added that the budget that he called a shoestring budget of the fire department also hampered efforts to clear brush in urban areas and suggested that decision-making authority on cleaning brush from property had been removed from individual stations. End of quote. Meanwhile, there is an effort to recall Gavin Newsom and a petition for Karen Bass to resign. The last time I checked, about 150,000 people had signed that petition. I'm sure it's much higher than that now. This is interesting. Article in the Patriot Journal. California saved a shrub instead of protecting humans from LA firestorm. LA Times reported that environmentalists stopped brush mitigation around the Topanga Canyon by the LA Department of Water and Power in the Pacific Palisades in 2019. Why? Because of, quote, community concerns about protected plants in the construction area. Times reported that in 2019, the WDP wanted to replace old wooden electricity poles with steel ones to lessen the fire fuel in Topanga Canyon. They also wanted to widen fire breaks on the slope leading from the Palisades to Pacific Coast Highway. But sometime in July, DWP crews used bulldozers to clear and widen a graded road as part of a wildfire prevention project stretching from Pacific Palisades to Lake Encino. The California Public Utilities Commission had identified this area as having an elevated fire risk. By installing steel poles, DWP hoped to make the power lines more resistant to high winds and fires. In a statement, the DWP said this project will help ensure power reliability and safety while helping reduce wildfire threats. These wooden poles were installed between 1933 and 1955 and are now past their useful service life, close quote. By doing this work, the state authorities said, the crews potentially could destroy hundreds of Broughton's milk vetch plants, an endangered species whose remaining numbers have dwindled down to less than 3,000 in the wild. This potential destruction was reported to the California Coastal Commission by an amateur botanist and hiker who told the Times, quote, "It's hard not to think that if there had been blue whales and panda bear up there, they would have bulldozed them too," close quote. But apparently that caused the project to not go forward. They stopped the Topanga Canyon pole replacement and fire road work to determine if the LA DWP had broken the law. Now, fast forward, all these woody shrubs have been destroyed. Homes have been incinerated. Schools are mere husks. And many people now are financially wiped out. Now, no guarantees that Pacific Palisades would remain had this mitigation work been allowed to proceed. But hey, the shrub was saved, right? Climate warrior Leonardo DiCaprio has been slammed for arriving in Mexico with his girlfriend aboard a private plane after escaping the LA wildfires. A number of celebrities have lost their homes, including Paris Hilton, James Woods, Eugene Levy, Mel Gibson, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And apparently DiCaprio's home was in danger, and he took off on a private jet. No word on the size of his carbon footprint. More celebrities are now upset with the leadership that they voted for. An actress named Sarah Michelle Gellar took to social media. She's known for her role as Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And on Instagram, she said, quote, "City of LA, you want everyone to evacuate, yet you have complete gridlock and not one traffic cop on the roads helping," close quote. A former Dancing with the Stars pro, Valentine Shmerkovsky, said, "Fifth largest economy on the planet, firefighters didn't have enough water pressure to do their jobs. Are you joking me? The taxes we pay for third world infrastructure is unbelievable. Thanks for watching these clips from The Larry Elder Show. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment. More thought-provoking discussions are just a click away, so stay tuned and we'll see you in the next one.